What about the Pirates of Puntzance?
Nah, too musical.
30-odd foot of punts?
Ugh, not musical enough.
I've got it. The Punt for Red October.
Yeah? Oh, that is good.
Nailed it. Huh?
Oh, no, it's taken.
Try Sportsbet's new Bet With Mates. The easiest way to group bet. The only hard part is choosing the name.
All quiet on the western punt?
Yeah, not bad. Conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. 1-800-858-858.
It's a grand old flag, it's a high-flying flag, it's the emblem for me and for you. It's the emblem.
Well, we're 3 days out from the big one, and who better to get on than our very own Melbourne champion, Gary Lyon, who will be presenting the cup should, and we are all hoping, I think, if you're not a Western Bulldogs supporter, that Melbourne win on grand final day. Gaz, thanks so much for your time.
Kano and Hazy Amen. I hope we're hearing that song on Saturday night at about, I don't know what time it finishes, 9 o'clock.
How are you feeling? Like, you've been asked this question so many times. I've been fortunate enough to spend a bit of time with you, and everyone say, how are you feeling? How's the nerves? Has it changed at all? Are you relaxed? Can you explain to us your emotions as we're not that long out from the first bounce?
Yeah, I always have been a very relaxed watcher. I don't get nervous with footy at all, to be perfectly honest. But this is different. I don't think there's any doubt about that, Kano. So it's been a bit unusual. You've been here for a while now, just Hazy. Has he been tearing the city up? Let me give you a tip. But it's been a 2-week build-up, so you sort of have to pace yourself, and then. With the Brownlow on Sunday night, that gets you back into the sort of normal rhythm of grand final week, and then you're in the home stretch. And yeah, it's been good. I'm not too wound up at the moment. I'm feeling pretty relaxed about everything, so I'm sure I will be come Friday or Saturday.
We'll get to that, Gaz. I think we're bordering on an intervention because some of the stories coming out of the West are just so not Kane Corns like. It's just ridiculous. Sent his family over just to calm him down. Mate, what would it mean? What would it mean, not just yourself, but a Melbourne supporter base that's suffered for so long?
There's so many things tied up in that, Hazy. I think when you've been out of contention or not really contender for a long time, you can sort of forget. This time of year becomes a time of year that you're not relevant and you're not a part of what's going on, so you look at it a bit dispassionately. So what it does is it reignites genuine deep-seated passion again, and this is a generational thing. There are still Melbourne supporters that can remember the sort of 50s and 60s when it was a rite of passage that Melbourne just won premierships. That's just what they did, and the expectation would be that they would continue to do it, and they haven't, of course. So I think it just stirred everyone's passions. There's a younger generation who have needed to be bribed and threatened and whatever to maintain their allegiances to the club throughout a pretty tough period of time. And I've seen that with my own 3 boys who love the club as well. So I think it's a reward for resilience and loyalty. That's probably the best way to put it.
So they'll obviously go in as the favourites. We were just talking about, even yesterday, the last couple of days, their lack of match practice over the last sort of month. Is that a concern for you?
It won't be known until after the game's decided, I think. I know that they're not overly concerned about it. They got this such supreme confidence in Darren Burgess, who's a man that's well known to you guys and your audience. So I tell you, they are rock hard fit. They're as fit as I've ever seen a team. And in terms of match practice, it's unprecedented. So I think ultimately you can make a case that they've played 3 games in 5 or 6 weeks. So I'm hoping it won't be a factor.
You've had unlimited access, really, as I've heard you speak a couple of times, not really out of school, but for your media commitments and also the role that you're playing as a Melbourne ambassador, really, and an ambassador for the AFL. What's the mood inside the group like, and how have they handled the extra week that you wouldn't usually get? Yeah,
so I've been down to their training camp or headquarters or base, whatever it is, up a couple of times, and I did have an opportunity to sit down and talk length with 7 or 8 of the players and a couple of the coaches, and almost to a man, they were very relaxed, albeit it was last week. So I know that they deliberately sort of tried to back away from it a bit and free the boys' minds up and not have them play the game 10, 11, 12 days out from the grand final. But they were all pretty relaxed, and they're cognizant of what they needed to be or be doing and where they needed to be, both emotionally and physically. And coaches were the same. There's always the exception. Jack Viney was one of the boys I interviewed. He looked like he was ready to play about 13 days ago, so that probably wouldn't surprise too many people when you watch him in action. But I think, to a man, they'd handled it. They looked like it to me anyway, that they'd handled it pretty well. I reckon if I went down there tomorrow, there would be a whole different vibe and a whole different mood as they build towards this weekend.
Gaz, what about the opposition? I think what we've learnt is that when you're talking about the Bulldogs, he pretends he's not listening, but Luke Beveridge is listening, and if you say something ill of his squad, he uses it as motivation.
Yeah, I think he's the most important part of that whole group. Because he's got this capacity to keep them engaged, to find whatever the trigger is that's going to work for them from week to week. It's been a marvellous coaching performance, and we all sat back in awe with the way they played against Port Adelaide, last Saturday week. And he's had his challenges. He's coached to a premiership, and then there was a fair few issues with the Dogs that they had to deal with and contend with, and he's been able to regroup, regather, and go again. And now here they are. And it does appear to be from the bookmakers and from those that the critics think it's a bit very much one-sided. That's the way they're telling me, but I see it as much closer than that, to be perfectly honest. And they're in ripping nick. They've got super midfield, which is always going to give you a look. And so I think I think the game itself is going to be fascinating to see how it unfolds.
So no doubt you'd know Simon Goodwin probably better than most people. What's he like, not just as a person, but as a coach? Really
calm, really measured, deeply involved in all of his playing group. He builds relationships. He's a modern day coach, Hazy. That's what he is. He's not your rah-rah. He's not your throwback to the old school that could rip blokes' heads off. He's much more measured. He's deep. Goes on the search for to better himself most off season. So he's got a huge appetite to learn. And he's one thing I always say to him when I talk to him is he's had an unshakable belief in his group. If you go back to 18 and then the 19 season was disappointing. Last year, they had the opportunity. He never once wavered. And I know all coaches have got great faith in their playing group, but he has never once wavered in his belief that this group is a really special group of players. So I think they appreciate the faith that he shows in them, and they're all on the same page. When they go badly, he's the one that gets mentioned first of all. So when they're going well, he needs to be given his due credit. And I think Uze coming into that mix has been really important for him. I think he likes to coach down on the boundary. So to have someone up in the box that you can trust, who sees it really well with Chappie and also Greg Stafford, the other one, they just look to me to be a really in-sync group. So the man in charge is Simon Goodwin, and I think he's done a superb job.
A couple of stories you've shared that I've heard since I've been here in Perth. My favourite one, perhaps, is the WhatsApp group. Gary, can you share with our audience what this finals campaign has done to the past players of the Melbourne Footy Club, and take us inside this WhatsApp group?
Yeah, no, well, every club's got past players, but some are really strong and some are a bit disconnected and not as joined. And Rod Grinder is one that's done a fantastic job of bringing the players together. And I think they have a running group, which I was never involved with because I couldn't run, but I'll be working on weekends. But they had a WhatsApp group, and then I think we decided a couple of weeks ago to put everyone's name or whose number that he had from the past players, and just sort of firebombed a WhatsApp group, and then it started, and the connection has brought these generations of supporters. So it just runs like a ticker tape. It just keeps running day and night of players who join and says, they're from far-flung places. They're from 60s, 70s, right through until modern day. And now blokes are putting up photos from their era, and the younger blokes are saying, how great's that? I wasn't aware, what a great photo. And just watching the interaction between the generations has been extraordinary. And then your generation start to buy it in, and so there's that, the footy club rivalry where you start sledging your mates and all. So it's been a joy to watch. And I'm not into social media. I don't do the social media, but I imagine this is why it's addictive, because I look forward to, when I get a quiet time, just to getting on the WhatsApp group to see which of the old players have jumped on and what they're saying. And, when I was announced as the Cup ambassador, then, they all piled in, and it was just a really warm sense of old blokes who have a common love of a club that hasn't had any success, and just how genuinely excited they are.
Hey guys, just before we let you go, what we know about Kane Cornes, a social butterfly, he is not. So what's happening in Adelaide at the moment, it's just miserable weather, beautiful weather happening over in Perth, and then we speak every day, and I say, what's going on over in Perth this day? And Kane will say, I've got to go to a bloody winery. I've got to go on a helicopter ride. I've got to go to this breakfast. I've got to go to this lunch, which sounds like absolute heaven. It's torture for Kane. I just feel like you would go into these things with maybe a bit of a more positive attitude.
Well, I'm not sure it is torture for him, to be perfectly honest. He jumped in that helicopter that quick. He got the front seat sorted out. And he did look a little nervous and apprehensive. The twist in the tail was I was the one that went for the sick bag in the end. But, no, his night out the other night on a Friday, I've known him as a consummate professional teetotaler. His old man would be embarrassed. He started on the light beer. He had at least half of one of them, and I could see his eyes starting to roll. And then he hit the red wine. And by the end of the night, he was vodka, lime and soda and telling everyone the volcano was in the house.
Vodka, lime and soda. That is fine. It starts small. It started with a light beer, and now we're doing vodka, lime and sodas. That's outrageous.
Gary, let's move on, because you'll put more mayonnaise on it by the day.
No, I have not.
You will. Every day it gets a little bit more. A Norm Smith medalist. And the winner, of course, is Melbourne. But who's going to stand up on this big day?
I'm going for my man, who's always been my man, and that is Clayton Oliver, who's just been in ripping nick, and I thought his prelim was great. His final series has been terrific. He just looks ready. Brownlow medal was, I don't think the Brownlow medal was what was, of high priority for him, but the fact that he hasn't won it, I'm hoping that might just give him a little sting in the tail. Hope the same thing doesn't happen to the Bont. I think he could win it. I think he's capable of winning it. I hope he wins it, and I hope like hell the Demons win it.
And the Demons in a close one, or can you get a sense of a margin?
I'm hoping it's over 2 goals. I don't want it any closer than that, Kano. That's the hope. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm hoping that it's over 2 goals. So it's not one of those ones where it's in the balance in the last minute, because that could be the end of me.
Could be the end of you and your 3 boys at home, and a whole heap of Melbourne supporters. Mate, good luck. It's been phenomenal to see what it has meant to you, and to witness the people of Perth embrace you, and what's in front of you is something that happens maybe only once in a lifetime. Who knows? But we appreciate hearing all your memories of it, and once again, good luck.
No, I appreciate it. That's very nice, kind words, mate, and I appreciate it. It's good to talk to you boys.
Gary Lyon will be handing over the Premiership Cup if his Melbourne Demons win it. That'll go to big Maxi Gawn. Hazy, can you imagine these Melbourne supporters at home who can only be with their family? They can't be in a pub. They can't be at the MCG. They can only be with those people that live in the same household as them, and they've waited 57 years for it. Like, it's the circumstances unfolding around it are phenomenal. But I'm sure the Melbourne players will represent their club like they have done all year.
Preparing Mars Shuttle 1. We have liftoff in 3, 2,
Houston,
1.
Permission to abort.
Shuttle 1, is there a problem?
Well, it's just, we're still alive in the quaddie here.
Why didn't you say anything?
The first 2 legs were the faves, so we didn't want to make a big deal,
10-4, launch delayed.
Introducing Sportsbet's new Bet with Mates. Start your group, bet together and share the moment. Conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. 1-800-858-858.